What's up guys, Goat Rodeo Gaming back here with another video. Today we're playing the most realistic train simulator ever made. I had a lot of people suggest Run 8 Trainz Simulator, especially another channel called Kerbo. Go check him out if you haven't seen him, great stuff. And this is touted as the most realistic train simulator when it comes to physics and really just all around everything. And you guys couldn't have been more right for those that suggested it. So, played around with it a little bit. Still kind of green when it comes to the controls. The controls are super complicated. Probably the most complicated game I've ever played when it comes to the controls. But that's the beauty of it as well. You know, this game is challenging, and that's what's fun about it. It's not mindless like the other train simulators, so just gonna go over some things. If you want to click on these locomotives right here, and then look what pops up, guys. So this is your ownership. So you can currently I own this train. So I could relinquish it, or I could crew it with an AI crew, and I could tell the AI crew what to do based on lining up the signals with the dispatcher board, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, train line auto start all. You have all these different features. Air brake test. Put the EOT on the end of the train. Auto MU and DP. Now the MU means multiple unit, and that's how these other engines run. There's two cables. Actually, there's one cable plugs in here. It spans across, plugs in there. And then this becomes a slave unit, and it does whatever you do in this lead unit. And you just keep connecting it with those cables through each one, and they'll do exactly. So that's called multiple unit cable. If I go back to this, I mean, that's awesome. That's super realistic. You got to set the lights, the headlights to short hood lead would be what this unit would be. You have start, isolate, run. Isolate just means it won't make any power. You can rev it up and it won't do nothing. So it's basically just on idle. Come down here, dynamic brakes, normal cutout. So in some situations you only have so many dynamic brakes on the head end of a train if you're going to go down a significant grade. So sometimes you have to cut the dynamics out of one of these units so their dynamics just don't work. Free fuel tagger, I haven't really gone into this too much, but we'll change the symbol to Goat Rodeo. Whoa, that's not how you spell it. Goat Rodeo Gaming. Okay. Now the real train symbol would depend on what kind of train it is, where it's originating and where it's terminating. So a good example is I worked out of Yermo, which is on this game, which is pretty cool. And we would always get a train called the MNPWC, and then let's say it was 03. It always had a number, or 27. So the MNPWC, let's say 27. That's your train symbol. The M stands for the type of train. It was a manifest train. So manifest. The NP was the symbol of where it originated. It originated in North Platte, Nebraska. And the WC is where it terminated, which was West Colton, California. And then the 27 was the date that it left the yard in North Platte. So the 27th of whatever month. So the MNPWC 27. That's the train symbol. So I'll come back here. I'll try to make this short and sweet so we can get going. You click, you kind of got this little crosshair thing. I know you can remove it, but it's kind of handy. You click on the coupler if it'll let me. There we go. So even the coupler, as you can see, there's angle cocks too. So you could partly close or partly open, close, open, you can uncouple. If this was a unit, you could MU it, just unit to unit, instead of that kind of cheap list I just showed you. You could attach EOT to any car, you could apply, release the brakes, and if you get a knuckle, or you break the coupler basically, you can fix it. So that's just the coupler itself. Now the car itself, you could relinquish it, you could fully load it, you could release the brakes, kind of like with the knuckle options. You could bleed the air out, which is where you manually basically bleed out all the air, so there's no air brakes under it. And you can get even defects on these cars, and if we had a dragging equipment or hot axle, you click this and it fixes it. So there's just so many things that so far I love about this game. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get these units fired up. We're going to come up here, auto start. And these locomotive sound effects are pretty legit. They're pretty realistic. Locomotive circuit breakers, all, you know, it's automatically set to run. In-cab controls like the generator field switches and all that should be up. Reset for normal operation, air brake system recharged, so that's AB. Set the EOT. EOT's on the end of the train. It will MU/DP, which we don't have any DPUs. That'd be if you had a locomotive on the end of the train. I'm going to go through and release all these brakes. That's one thing not too pumped on with this game, is I created this train myself, which I'll show you how to do. And, you know, right here, we're on a bit of a grade. You would only have so many handbrakes spun if this train was just sitting here. So I could see like 20 handbrakes on this thing. But to have the whole train, it's pretty annoying, to be honest. But you know, when you can kind of fast walk like this, it's not the end of the world. So that's why I'm not freaking out over it. It's just a little inconvenient. You know, if you had a 100-car train, you'd have to come and do this each car. Now, there might be a control that automatically knocks all the brakes off. I might not be aware of, because there are a ridiculous amount of keys in this game and key combinations. So I could just be getting that wrong. But as far as I know, this is what you have to do. And at least it's not normal walking pace, or else this would take forever. So, yeah. Found a few little things I'm not too big on in this game, but it has nothing to do with the realism, really. I had played this game for, I don't know, maybe 4 hours, just kind of dinking around with everything. And I just realized last night that if you don't enter in the license key on the main menu, or actually it's here in your settings, I'll show you. License. If you don't enter in your key, then it's almost impossible to play this game. Certain keys won't work, you'll start going and your train will break in half, or if you actually get it going, which I was able to a few times, the first detector you hit, you get something wrong with the rail cars and all that. Then the train breaks in half and all these issues, and I was like, man, what's going on? And it just turns out that you have to put in the license key, or else they program the game to basically screw with you and cause a bunch of issues. So kudos to them. That's pretty funny. So now we're in the cab. So like I said, the fuel generator switches switched up. These little red dots are just to see where you can move around. You move around by pushing F11. but I just pushed Control F11, which just put me right in the seat. So that's really all you need to know. I think I'm gonna try to turn these off. Let's see if that did it. No. There we go. Okay. So yeah, this is pretty legit. You got a distance counter, which is something that engineers use a lot. It's basically, if you want to know if you're clear of a switch or clear of a speed, like a speed restriction or something like that, you hit that counter when your head in touches it. And depending on the length of your train, let's say it's 5,000 feet, then you know at 5,000 feet you're roughly past it. Most engineers will give it another few hundred feet because the counters can be off. But that's just a really cool feature. We got all the controls here, unlike Trainz Simulator 2022, where there's no radio. This is your MU, or sorry, MU. This is your EOT box, basically. This button right here, you can cause the train to go into emergency from the rear ends. So, this radio traffic is so realistic. That's one thing I've been enjoying. It's been giving me flashbacks, to say the least. But you can put the train in emergency from the head end, and you can put the train in emergency from the rear end as well with this button. That's pretty cool. You can change the radio, which I haven't really figured out how to do yet. Doesn't really matter. It's not like you communicate with the dispatchers or anything. Shows the parking brake on. Got the bell, sander, lights. We'll put on bright. They even got the heater down here. I don't think you can play with. So, yeah, just insane. Horn is a little cheesy. Well, a lot cheesy. Bell is actually sounds pretty good. Especially that psh sound. That's pretty realistic. So I'll go outside the cab. I'm gonna make sure all these handbrakes are off on the power. Run or refuel. If you want to refuel it, you can click this, or you can set it to where you can only refuel the locomotives if you go to a refueling pad, whether in Bakersfield, Barstow, or Yermo. So that's pretty cool. Just want to make sure everything's good. We're in run, release, we're in run, everything's good. We're going to put a long hood trail because you're supposed to have a dim headlight on the end of your consist. Released, everything looks good. Released. And released. Alright, well, still getting used to these controls, guys, so doing my best. Might be a little slow. So we should be ready to go now. One thing will go is if you go F3, go to the dispatcher's board, and yeah, pretty nuts to say the least. So you change it. So we're down here. My bar down here kind of hides control panel. So if you want to change the size of the screen, you go F4. So click on the signal. Yellow doesn't mean that it's yellow. It just means once you pass the signal, it's going to drop permanently red. Green once you pass the signal and you get out ahead of it. As you clear the next blocks, then it'll go down back to a green signal. If you want to come out of a siding, neutral is line for straight main line pretty much all the time. Reverse is for the siding. So we'll go yellow, yellow, yellow. I don't have to worry about these switches because I'm just going to go straight. This one, I believe, has to be line for reverse, and then we'll go yellow, 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 all the way up. This is the Palmdale / first half of the UP Mojave sub. I haven't been this far up. We were cut off at Silverwood, which is just south of this panel right here. Cone Pass was my main run. Forgot to mention, former UP conductor, ran some trains, not an expert, not an engineer, but I understand basics, and I felt it real life, so that's another thing we're going to be looking for in this game. This is the BNSF's Mojave sub, so from Barstow to actual Mojave, California, where it interchanges with the UP right here. So yeah, this game's pretty next level. So here I want to go into the yard. We're gonna do a pickup, some cars, and maybe attach some helpers on the rear, because we're already at like 2.5 horsepower, which basically is just tells you it just tells you it's just a rating system. Basically, horsepower per ton. You need a certain amount on certain grades. I am not familiar with the Tehachapi passes horsepower per ton. And I don't really remember the cone passes because the UP does not use horsepower per ton. The UP uses, what do they call it? I'm drawing a massive blank right now. That's funny. They basically use a different math equation to come to the same results. So, not too familiar with it, but you want to be around like 3 horsepower per ton, basically. Like, that's pretty good. I think 2 is like minimum for the Cajon Pass. Like I said, don't really remember. But yeah, it's important. So we're just gonna run with it. Okay, so that's F3. I just wanted to line up some tracks because this game spawns AI trains. So get out of here. Let's go Shift F1. Okay, that didn't do nothing. But this is how you can create trains. You can go to Freight Locos. Yellow are the ones that I currently have. So you can do this, do this, do this. If you want to reverse the locomotive, right click. If you want to add cars, these are different box cars. This. I'll keep this is pretty cool. Locos 3, cars 7, total 10, length 601 feet. Empty, so if you were to run this train empty, 260 tons. Horsepower per ton, 52.5, which would be ridiculously good. Loaded, 1,000, 1 ton. Horsepower, 13.6, which is still really good. So this is how you make trains, and then you place a train, this disappears, and then you can drop it on any track around you. We're not worried about that right now. So Control F2, track bulletins, so you can create track bulletins like Form A's, Form B's, track, form, and speed from milepost to milepost, track bulletin number. So yeah, very, very realistic. So Shift F2, this is where you do the AI. So this is the only AI that's been spawned so far. Most of the time they spawn out needles, so you could run from Tehachapi all the way to Needles, which is about 400 miles, which is pretty insane. So then you go to spawn points. I want to spawn one in Bakersfield, so we'll meet this guy at some point. So yeah, this thing is just, it's nuts. It is absolutely out there and the best thing you could find. So without further ado, we'll actually get this thing going. So I don't believe, at least I haven't figured out, that you can interact with the control stand via your mouse. So it's all controls, but I've grown to like that it uses the keyboard controls to do everything because it allows you to not accidentally, come up 2 notches or down 2 notches or apply too much brakes or too much independent which with the physics of this game would break the train in half. So it allows you to be more precise, which means you'll be more gradual, which is realistic. You don't do anything fast running a freight train. You don't just start ripping it. You don't start going to dinings. You don't just put on a huge set. It's all gradual, and it's all in advance of when you should do it. So it kind of forces you to run the train in a way that's realistic too. So fan of that. So insert, run forward. We'll go roll on. Drop the air. We'll start dropping the independent off. So we see some movement. Kind of a thing you learn running trains in real life is you look at the ground right to the side of you. That's kind of your judgment of what's going on. Based on what you're feeling through your seat and what you're seeing, this is kind of what we do. Like I'm a professional or anything. I'm not, but I ran some trains up and down the Cone Pass, so we're still dropping some air. There we go. So now we're moving. I was a little quicker than I wanted. Still got some on. Our EOT box has told us that the rear's moving, so that's good. Means we're stretched out. Now we'll start dropping some more. You can see it go down little by little. Okay, so we're all the way off. Independent. So now we're rolling under power. Got our air gauges. This is what you want to watch when you're trying to throttle up. If you throttle up too quickly, you'll break it in half and you'll see this meter go up.
340, that's 340 to Wilson from control point C177 on the siding, no switch.
Run
Control
2.
point C178 on the siding, switch, no. Mark up $200, dispatch ARW.
Now one thing I'll show you guys too is there are 2 settings for train handling. And I love their humor. Piglet / Foamer's the easier one. High seniority hogger. Hogger is was a nickname at the railroad for an engineer or someone that's been an engineer for a long time. So we're stretched out as long as this meter doesn't come up too high. You can throttle up pretty quickly. You just want to let this thing settle back down. So it's not rocket science, but you gotta be patient. You gotta be a little meticulous.
After 340, that's 340 to Wilson from control point C177 on the siding, no switch. Control point C178 on the siding, switch, no. Mark up $200, dispatch ARW.
Now, as you can see, the graphics aren't out of this world or anything. I mean, they're pretty comparable to Trainz Sim 2022, or at least the routes that I've been playing on Trainz Sim 2022. But, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm sure if they come out, this is version 2, so Run 8 Trainz Simulator version 2. I'm sure if they come out with a version 3 that the graphics will be better, but to me, it's not a big deal. It looks pretty good, so I'm not sure what the speed is around here, so I'm kind of waiting for a board. I'm going to assume it's about 30 because we're on a grade. I think I'm going to actually throttle off until we see something for sure. Here's a greaser. Keep the flanges on the wheels greased up around all these curves. Very important. How about the inside of these cabs, guys? I mean, take away all the realistic buttons and features. You can interact with all these. Just look at how they look. I mean, these are so legit. So, today, I'm going to be testing the brakes. I might try to break this train in half. You know, because I didn't enter in my license key for this game, I broke my train in half so many times that I almost am tired of it. I'm like, I'm done with breaking the train in half. And it wasn't breaking in half because I suck. It was breaking in half because they want you to enter the key, so they sabotage the train physics. Not saying that I still won't suck, but um, maybe later on in the video, that's when we'll try to really mess with this thing. Because right now, I just I'm so irritated. I'm like, there's no way. I'm doing exactly what I would do in real life. If these physics are legit, there's no way this thing should break. I mean, I was babying the crap out of these things, getting them going, and they're still snapping a knuckle like it was made out of plastic or something. Got a horn signal. We'll get back after it. Slowing down. We must be going up a hill. A little steeper of a hill. Yeah, we need to get a better horn than that, fellas. That's hard to listen to. Now I'm gonna go to F1 really quick. I'm gonna go to keyboard. I'm gonna go down to bell on off. It's a decimal. I'm gonna change it, and I'm just gonna type in B and apply. So you can change all these, but look at all these different controls. That's what I'm talking about. So, alright, what do we got? Good for 60, alright. So there is a control, a key sequence. It's like control R or something, I can't remember it. That'll tell you the current speed zone you're in. But I actually want to just try to run this off of the speed boards. So we'll see if they have the advanced speed boards, like the speed boards in advanced. So we'll find out, My plan is to run up to Mojave Yard, pull in the yard. Okay, then I'm gonna pick up some cars, so we're doing a pickup. I think there's like 15 tank cars that we'll pick up. And then there's some helper power. So I'll pick up those cars, pull forward, tack the helpers on the rear, and then we'll start heading up to Tehachapi. Up and over and then down the grade. So I've not been down the grade yet, so I'm interested to see how that goes. See how our boys are doing. Alright, so I got a BNSF train coming out of Bakersfield, so we'll meet him at some point. Later on, I'll spawn a bunch more. So we're cooking pretty good now, so I'm going to throttle off. I know there's a bit of a downhill up here. Whoops. Do this. Well, Sometimes, guys, there's a glitch when you go full screen. You just gotta keep pressing F4 to basically get rid of that glitch. We're on a bit of a downhill right now, so I'm gonna set some air. So you gotta bail off in this game, guys, which is period. We bailed off, so our engines don't set up. Now we're dragging this thing down this hill. And if you didn't do that, you probably get some run in. That would have been a good opportunity to test the physics of the game, but just trying to run this thing realistically at the moment. Oh, it was 60 through here, so I'm doing about 60. So as you can see, we kind of dip down and then we climb back up. So we have a defect already. That's cool. Now we're climbing up the other side. I'm going to get on top here and then we'll stop. And we'll go investigate. Alright, we'll start throttling off now. Now we're clear. When you're stretched out like this with the brakes applied, you can throttle off pretty quick, and it should squat right down. This is something that they need to fix right here. A little bit of a washout or something.
For the 340, that's 340 to Wilson from control point C177 on the siding no switch. Control point C178 on the siding switch no. Mark up $200, dispatch ARW.
Give it a little bit more. This thing should be stopping a little. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Every train's different in real life. These brakes are nice and warmed up. Things should be squatting down pretty good. You want to go into dynamics, you push the divide key. Now we're just in setup for dynies. Run one dynies. We're bringing her down. We should have stopped quicker if there was an actual defect, but what are you gonna do? Want to you want to do all this kind of slow? That'll bring us down to a nice easy stop. While we're stopping it, I wrote some notes down of controls that are essential. Let's see. Alright, we're stopped. I'm out of dynies. Center the reverser. Give it a 20-pound set. Yeah, 15 will do it. Yeah, we're in the ballpark now.
Yep, they haven't gotten back to me to tell me
Set
it's not
the
effective, but you gotta
independence.
comply with it still, guys.
We should be good to go. Alright. Ready for ludicrous speed? Shoo! This is how you walk a train. Right here. So we got a detector pretty early on. And I'm interested to see, maybe I forgot to, or at least, not forgot, obviously I tried to knock all the brakes off, but maybe I skipped the car without knowing it. You know, that happens sometimes. Alright, so that's released. That's released. 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 Alright, so it's released, but we got dragging equipment. Huh. Fixed. Wanna make sure. There's another keyboard combination that'll spawn you at the end of the train. But we're not a very long train, and yeah, I kind of just want to check these, so. One thing that's kind of, and it's, and when I about to go on to this rant, that's not something that's not done often with video games, but there does seem to be like some basic rail cars that you have to purchase, like coal cars and center beams. I'll show you real quick. These are different center beams. So these are gray because you have to buy them. Covered hoppers, you got a good amount. We don't need all that crap. Like coils, don't have any coils. Open hoppers, no open hoppers. I mean, at least give us like some basics of each one so we can form a real train. No piggybacks. You do have some refrigerator cars. You do got all the tank cars. Do have plenty of well cars, box cars, and no auto racks. So it's, you know, give us the basics. You know, they gave us the basics when it came to freight locomotives. They have their own Run 8 GP40s, tunnel motor, which is what I'm in. And then they have like your typical railroad SD70 ACs and ES44s. So they gave us the basics when it comes to locomotives, which this is fine. But when it comes to the cars, it's like, come on. You gotta give us a little bit more than that. So I like to be more like where I actually sat. So it's about right here. Alright, so now we're gonna get going. Hopefully we don't have any more issues. We actually got down to a 26-pound set, which is more than enough, so. See the rears. Building back up because we gotta recharge the air.
Understanding B47 Barnett, releasing tracking time authority number 7786 on the site.
This is your independent right here. So once you get down, probably around 20-ish, that's when you'll kind of want to ease off on it. Air's charging back up pretty good. That's good that it's taken a while, because this is a shorter train, but I could see a train of this length taking this long to recharge, so another major plus for this game. Looks like we're just maybe barely starting to move. If you're looking for the most subtle movement, now we're down to 10. There we go, it's starting to, shadow's starting to move a little bit. Oh, you know what? I think what I might have to do, guys, is... No, I shouldn't have to do that. Huh. Maybe it's because we're on a bit of a hill right here. That's probably why. Alright, we're all the way off. So let's throttle up. There we go.
Hey, Brian, you out there?
Alright, we're moving on the rear. I'll watch this thing come down and then we'll get after it. Yeah, we're probably on a bit of a hill right now. It looks like it. You can see it kind of crests up here. I forget the weight of this train. I think we're about 2.5 horsepower per ton, so it's got some weight to it. Not very long. I think it's only like 4,000 feet, but I think I set all the cars to loaded. I made this train yesterday in preparation for this video. I just wanted to get some things going first, so it didn't take forever for us to actually start running the thing. We look at the dispatcher's board. I'll go to F4 so we can see it better. Here's us. So these little blobs in between, those are intermediates. Typically. Intermediate. So, at least that's what they should be. Yeah, maybe not always. Now that I look at it. Oh, BNSF is leaving. He's starting to go up. Here we go. You know, it's kind of strange to me. I don't know.
Coming into your mode now, so we'll see how it goes. But give me a call after light power. We'll see about moving you up.
That almost sounds like one of the dispatchers I used to talk to, like the same voice and everything. I forget what his name was. They go by initials. It'd be like dispatcher JBS or whatever. But that sounds like one of the dispatchers I used to deal with all the time coming out of Yermo. That's funny.
Won't crank or just won't fire? Won't crank.
What was I saying? What was I rambling on about? Oh, the devs of this game. I don't know why this game isn't more out there. I've heard about it, like really subtly heard about it about a year ago. That was the first time I ever heard about it, and I've kind of been in the guess, in the railroad community for a while, in the sense of like kind of paying attention if there's like new games. Just I pay attention if there's new games in general, whether it be military, this, or something else I'm interested in. But yeah, I thought I would have definitely heard about this a lot sooner, because I definitely would have bought it a lot sooner than this. But so yeah, kind of surprised with I don't know what it is, maybe their marketing or whatever. You know, if this thing was on Steam even, and I understand that maybe there's some stipulations they don't like with putting their game on Steam that I'm not aware of, but this game should probably be like 10 times more popular than what it is. So, I mean, the graphics are the same as Trainz Simulator, basically. And Trainz Simulator seems to have the biggest community out of any railroad game. And this thing blows it away, not even close. So, I don't know, but just kind of observation. The devs out here ever watch this? Man, try to come up with a good marketing campaign or something, or heck, I would love to promote this game for you guys. I'm sure you already got plenty of railroaders. It seems like maybe even a few railroaders on your own staff, but you know, you can sell the crap out of this game if it gets out there more. It's more well known. So, just an observation. Love your game so far, though. So keep it up. This is awesome. It's really what I'm looking for right now is just speed boards. The ever-changing speeds. Pretty straight, not too many steep grades. So that's why, you know, that's 60. We're good for 60. A little track gig. What is this? Feeling sighting. Another cool thing about this dispatcher board, guys, is it tells you the feet, the length of the siding, signal to signal. So if you have an 8,500 foot train and you're planning on putting yourself into Rowan and you're meeting a 9,000 foot train, what are you going to do? So that's another thing you got to look out for. One thing I would like to see tweaked is I'd like an AI dispatcher. Maybe there's already one in the game and I just don't know about it, but an AI dispatcher would be really cool, because I don't want to expect things that will be coming up. You know, if I were actually running this train, I wouldn't know what's going on. So I would not be filled in. Looks like we got going kind of quick there. Got carried away with my rant. $65, still not fired yet. Well, right on the verge. This is definitely the speed. I bet you a lot of SP crews were running back in the day before black boxes and PTC and all this technology that's out there these days. They were probably cooking across here, probably up to 80 miles an hour. I know one SP engineer who I worked with, who's retired since, but he told me the fastest he ever went on a freight train when he was running it was 93 miles an hour. He got that thing up to, just cooking across the desert like this, just hauling. So what they used to do is they would cut out the automatic brake, which would then it wouldn't record their speed or something like that in the black box. But basically cancel out the speed, and on this flat, long terrain, they would just haul 80, 90 miles an hour, and then when they need to slow down, they cut the brake back in, and voila. Or they use the dynamics. Now we're decertified at the moment. So we must be going downhill more than I can tell. But so far, that's a good indication of the physics of this game. Because any kind of downhill with this much weight, guys, it'll pick up. And that's something that I didn't see. And that's how fast a train can get away from you. It's just 10, 20 seconds of not paying attention. Gets away from you just like that. So, another cool feature I like so far. I'll start throttling up again. Or back down to where we should be. So it looks like we're starting to crest back up again. Release the brakes. Taking a while, that was a minimum set. Taking a while for the air to recharge. I like that. Looks like we'll be cresting again, so we'll see what it does this time. I'll pay attention to it better, I promise. Yeah, so now we're going back down. Then we got another rise. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set another minimum. Bail. Always bail. We'll keep this thing stretched out as we go down through this dip. Stretch braking, yo. Alright, if we get another detector, there's something going on. Oh, let's not get another detector. How about that? I'm about 4 miles under max speed, so that's subpar. Ideally, I'd like to be up right around 60, but I'm not familiar with this route at all.
340, that's 340 to Wilson. From control point C177 on the siding, no switch. Control point C178 on the siding, no. Bundle $200, dispatch air to
Yay, we didn't get a defect. Yay. So I thought we were going to start going downhill a little sooner. That's why I left the air on, but we're not. It doesn't look like we're going to start going downhill until a little up here, so I'll put another set on if I need to. So, this is where knowing the terrain is so important. Knowing the speeds and knowing the terrain. Because, it's not just as easy just going straight. Throttling up, throttling down, Give it another set as we're picking up. That's probably another thing that's fun about running these older units in real life is you're literally just, you gotta pay attention to your speedometer so much. You know, these new units, they got an accelerometer and it tells you +5. You know, would have told me +5 back there, then I know immediately I gotta do something. But these things, you're feeling the train, you're looking at the speedometer up here, and sorry, those things are actually called an accelerometer. Duh. It's funny what you forget when you don't do it for a while. But basically, it just gives you a heads up of what's going on. So you can make those judgment calls a little quicker.
Going back to 20.
Now we're just rolling, brothers. Looks like we're about 2 over, but that's alright. Starting to creep up a little bit though, so we'll give her a little bit more air. I don't think that did nothing. Alright, well. Go do some dynies then, huh? These things, I mean, you gotta be so careful. So as you can see, a plain simple little route just going across the desert. If you want to do it right, you got to do it. You're staying busy up here, you know. It's not like you're just, you know, run whatever and kick it back. So we come out of dynamics because we're going back uphill.
Going back to 20.
Kick that off. Now we're just rolling. What I'm going to do is we'll go back to dynamics. See what the dynamics can do.
Roger that, y'all on duty 5 o'clock, right over? Roger that.
We're at 2. They'll pick it up a little bit. 3. Alright, that seemed to stable out pretty good. Leave it here and see what it does. Actually go back down if we want. So this is the part where you're trying to keep speed, but the terrain is ever changing. So you're just constantly going back and forth. You know, this section, dynamics is probably the better way to go. It's not very steep. We're not going through a bunch of dips and rises at the moment. But it seems like, from what I was taught and the engineers I worked with, when you're going through those dips and rises, using the air is the best way to keep a smooth ride, because you're keeping the train stressed out. So don't have to worry about any kind of run in or run out, which could cause, you know, a knuckle, breaking her in half. So right here, you know, it's a nice steady downgrade, no big deal. And I guess this might be like a 1% grade. And what's nice about the dynamics, which is why a lot of engineers these days use dynamics, is it is easier. You can come in and out of them, where once you set this thing, either you apply more or you release. So I understand why engineers rely more on dynamics these days, and the equipment too. You gotta understand these big GEs and the technology these units have. The dynamics are really good. So we're speeding a little bit, but hey, whatever. I like how it's got these half notches in the dynamics, because it's not notchy like the throttle. You kind of come out in and out of them, and even the slightest increase will increase the dynamics. So we'll come back out of them now that we're slowing down. Not a crossing, I think so. See that? You're looking at one thing for too long, you'll miss a crossing, you'll miss a speed board. It's that easy. You don't honk for that crossing and you hit a car or something happens, fired. Be certified. Because you have to warn. You have to warn people. Go back in the 90s a little bit more as we're picking up.
Roger that. You're on duty 5 o'clock, right over. 9-10, roger that. Don't get her these trains by you. They're coming too far to go down.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, I've never ran on this route myself. This Mojave sub from Silverwood north to Bakersfield is run by the Bakersfield boys. So, which is part of, I believe, the Roseville, or Roseville, however you say it, service unit. So, you know, I was assuming that this route was pretty flat. Not too much up and down terrain, but I was wrong. You know, and you know, by looking at it, I mean, there's a road over here that kind of parallels us. So, and I've driven up and down that road many times. Looking at it, you don't really realize how much up and down there really is. So, it's a great example of how something could appear to be easy and it's not. Another thing I'd like to see from the devs is there's some great DLC. Like they got the Trona Railway, they got the Cajon Pass, they got the San Bernardino Subdivision, which runs from LA to San Bernardino, and then the Cajon sub is San Bernardino up to Barstow, basically. So, I'd like to see the prices of those DLC drop a little bit. I could see paying, maybe 20 bucks for the Cajon sub, or one of the longer runs in the Lone Pine branch is 20 bucks, and it's not too long. And I'm not trying to discount the time and effort that goes into this thing. I'm just saying if the devs drop the prices of everything a little bit, I think they'd get a lot more, especially from someone like me. So, might be something to think about if you guys are listening. Also, the locomotive packs and the railcar packs, I would keep the packs, but I would also sell them individually, because sometimes we only want one thing, like my dad hired out for the SP. I grew up around the SP, so I would like to get, maybe a couple SP units, but I don't want to have to get, 5 or 6 locomotives, 3 of which I don't care to have. It'd just be nice if just had more options of the DLC. So, just a thought. I don't know if you noticed back there, but we kind of went through a flat spot, so I came out of dynamics, and now we're going back downhill pretty good, it seems like, because we're picking up. I mean, I haven't touched run 4 90s yet, and we're in run 4 as we speak. And this speed gauge back there jumped forward, and what that was is, since I'm in dynamics and these cars are rolling free, they bunched up and they gave us a little push. Now, it wasn't noticeable because I'm trying to keep it smooth, but a little push causes this locomotive to increase the speed, which then causes the speedometer to change. So that's a good indication. Once again, that's why you gotta pay attention to everything, not just the speed or the signals. But you saw a little change in the speedometer. Rewind a minute or two and look for that once we start going down that last steep part. No defects, no defects, no defects, please. Now we're flattening out again, so we're gonna come off of the dynies nice and easy. Try to keep that speed. I zoomed out so you guys could see where I'm at, what I'm doing. Apologize if my voice is messed up, or I just sound kind of had a cold, so I'm all stuffed up. Yeah, those detectors can narc you off too. If you're overspeed, you hit one of those. Uh-oh. Looks like we're flattening out. I believe there's a rock train that comes here. But I'm not too sure. Just heard about it. Does anybody know if there's a way where you can reskin these locomotives? It's something I've done a lot of in Trainz A New Era, Trainz 12, that kind of thing, is I learned how to reskin pre-existing locomotives, which is nice. Or I can edit them, I can add some weathering or this or that, turn them into a different unit altogether, basically. Does anybody know if you can do that on this game? if you can, comment below. Comment anything else that you've been observing that I might need to know or not know. I'd really like to edit some of these locomotives if I can, you know, duplicate them, edit some units, put the file back into the game. It's something I really like to do is make my own content. So let me know if you can, or if you can't, or if you don't know. So now that we're in dynamics, here's the power we're putting out. This is dynamics. No, we're not redlining, so that's good. Once again, that sounds like one of the BNSF dispatchers I used to deal with on the Cone Sub. So maybe they took real recordings somehow and put them into this game. That would be next level. Yeah, well, this game's really cool because you stay busy, like in real life, for the most part, and that's one thing I found myself playing. Trainz Simulator 2022, or really any of those other games, is that, you know, most of the time, like if I need to use the restroom or want to get some water, some food, I could just walk away, and nothing changes, you know. Either trying to slow down or you're trying to speed up. That's basically all you're doing. Yeah, there's no physics to make that something that happens often. So yeah, the more I play this game, the more I totally dig it. I mean, this is incredible. And once again, forget about crossings. Another thing I like too is we gotta drop out dynamics a little bit. We're slowing down. See if we get a bump. So we're going uphill. No, we're bunched up pretty good. As the sun is going down, I really like that. It looks cool. This time of day was always the coolest. See that? That was probably us stretching out a little bit. Now we're on at least flat ground, maybe slightly up. Another thing that's cool, guys, is when we go here, options, freeze time. So I want to keep this setting. Sundown type setting. There's so many options, but they do come out the version 3. Oh man, sign me up. Yeah, once again, I'd like to thank you guys for kind of pushing me to get this game. You know, those comments make a big difference. And, you know, that's awesome how kind of the gaming community is like that. Kind of a world that I've never stepped in before was the gaming community. I've always gamed, but I've never... We just started this channel like 3-4 weeks ago. with the idea of, you know, I bring some things to the table, the other half of Goat Rodeo Gaming brings some things to the table. You know, we've both done a lot of different jobs throughout our lives and have a lot of life experience. So I thought, hey, you know, the perspective of, you know, someone who actually used to railroad, you know, be a conductor, run some trains, and bring it to the gaming world, because I know it's a big kind of a big industry at this point, and there's a lot of train enthusiasts in the gaming world now. Thought, hey, it'd be cool to bring this perspective to it, and at the same time, I enjoy it too, especially when it's legit, like this game. And then the other half of Goat Rodeo Gaming, you know, former Marine Corps infantryman, used to be a trucker for like 25 years, doing all sorts of different stuff. So look out for him reviewing some trucking simulators here pretty soon. We're just trying to get him set up a little better for self-recording and all that. His computer seems to kind of wig out on him, so we're just trying to get the kinks worked out. But you know, we just want to bring a perspective of where guys that love gaming, or guys that used to work in certain fields, that there's a lot of games that revolve around now. And we want to bring that kind of real life perspective to this, and at the same time have some fun. So it's a cool dynamic, and we appreciate all the support. So the more support we get, the more we're gonna just try to really just make some great videos, great stuff, keep you guys fed, interested, all that good stuff. So it looks like we might be heading uphill a little bit, so we've slowed down quite a bit. So we're gonna come out of Dides. This will be a good test. Yeah, we're going uphill a little bit, so we're free rolling. Get back into some power, because we're like 12 below the speed now. That's not great. Apologize for the coughing. You might hear me blow my nose. But hey, you know, that's just part of it. Yeah, so we're definitely going uphill now. It would have been nice to know, once again, important knowing your route. If you know your route, I could have kept speed all the way through here. Would have anticipated all this. Well, I'm going to blow my nose real quick, so I'm going to take off my headset. Be right back. Nothing like having a raw nose and a bunch of boogers. Yeah. I think we're getting pretty close to Palmdale. At least I hope so. Or maybe halfway there, I don't know. Be the first crossing I've nailed in a while. Yeah, we really need to fix these horns, guys. They actually have these signals on this route.
Roger that, y'all on duty 5 o'clock, right over. Alright, roger that. Don't get an E-train by you, they're coming too far to go down.
How do you guys like the multiplayer on this game? Is it something you've dabbled in at all? I'd really like to start playing this game with the other half of this channel, Golden Wonder. I think it would be a ton of fun, kind of doing like what we did in Railroads, but with more modern equipment. Obviously, you can't lay track, and there's no monetary, you know, gains or anything like that, but we can kind of replicate the same thing that we do in that game and have a lot of fun with it, I think. So let me know if you guys have played multiplayer on this game or how it is. Seems pretty legit. Looks like we're gonna start going back downhill again, so we're just gonna throttle off. I don't know how close we are to Palmdale Junction. I imagine that you don't want to go through that switch at 60. See how the speedometer went kind of back and forth ever so subtle? It's because we just kind of went through a rise, a dip, and stuff like that, so the cars are running in, running out a little bit. You guys that play Trainz Sim World 2 or Trainz Simulator 22 or Trainz A New Era 1912, man, if you want a legit experience, you gotta get this game, man. If you think you can run a train, this is the closest you're gonna get to it, unless you go hire out for a railroad. So yeah, get it. You can still plop down whatever trains you want. You know, you just can't create your own routes. But you can do so much. All the industries are programmed into this game, so you can take cars to them, pull cars from them. You know, you can make a full-size train out of the industries in certain locations, haul it over the road, switch it out on the other side. So seems like we're on pretty flat ground. We got the junction coming up, so I'm going to start slowing down. We'll use Dines. Watch the speedometer, see if we get some run in. Might be bunched already, I don't know. Well, there goes the speed board. That's probably way slower than what we're doing. So there's no advance boards, which kind of sucks. I guarantee you that wasn't the speed coming in there. 70. Ah. These older EMDs don't have the strongest dynamics, so that's why it's not really doing nothing. And we might be going downhill to begin with. Yep, giving them like a 1.5-second warning. Pretty awesome. Alright, what is that? That's a whistle board. Alright, so we're on straight rail. So we'll probably clear that turn back there. So I'm going to start coming out Diney's. Just wanted to make sure. I thought there might be another turnout, like we might be merging into this one, but doesn't look like it. So start working out of Diney's and get back up to speed. First time ever traversing this route. So typically an engineer has like 6 months to a year's worth of training total. I think they have to take like, oh, what was it? Like between 60 and 100 trips on each route where I was. Give or take, I might be wrong on that, but a significant amount of trips they have to take in training. So they're with another engineer and they're just getting locked in on each route because of stuff like this. So, another whistle board, okay.
Yep, they haven't gotten back to me to tell me it's not in effect, so we gotta comply with it still, guys.
And one thing, guys, I wouldn't be discouraged with not being able to interact with the mouse with this stuff. Because when I heard about this game, I was kind of put off by that. I was like, I like being able to like just grab everything. Because I could grab things, turn right back. You know, this game is definitely a little bit more, like you can't be as quick, but it's, like I said, the physics are realistic. So you can't be quick anyways. So, don't be discouraged by the controls being on the keyboard and the amount of different keyboard controls you have to learn. I'm definitely a person where it takes me a little bit longer to learn complicated stuff. Not just gaming, but just complicated stuff in general. And within a few days of kind of messing around with this game, I got it down pretty good. So, not something I'd worry about. What was it? Denise or D-Nice? It looks like, well, I can't tell if we're going, I think we're going down, because we are picking up a little bit of speed. Can't tell if we're dropping down to a valley and then we'll kind of climb up over here, or if it's more flat and then a climb.
Coming into gear mode now, so we'll see how it goes. But give me a call after light power and we'll see about moving you up.
We're on a green, okay. This, I believe, is for Metrolink exclusively. Now, I'm not sure how accurate that is or not, but I think it is. And if they modeled it correctly, that would be the case. '89 on the rear. Now when you go into dynamics, guys, minus is increase, plus is decrease, and obviously with the throttle that's opposite. Minus is decrease, plus is increase. So in the real world, this train would only be good for 55. It's a manifest train. Pretty much all manifest trains are 55 because of the rail cars. That's what they're rated for. Your train goes the speed of the rail car that's rated the lowest speed on the train, if that makes sense. So if you got a car that's rated for 40, and it's just one car in the whole train, and guess what? You're going 40. So me, you know, doing speed 70 miles an hour pretty much right here, would not be doing that on this train, because this train would not allow for that. So we had a little bit of a stretched out just a bit right there, so we might have flattened out or going uphill slightly all of a sudden, or maybe it came in and then kind of went back out. See the speedometer kind of moved around. So these 70 mile an hour speeds are for intermodal basically. So, but today we're just trying to show you guys as much as we can. Get over the road. No big deal. This will probably be split into a 2-part video, because you know, 3-4 hour video of me going across the desert isn't probably too pleasing. So once we probably do our set out in Mojave, or set out pickup in Mojave, and we attach the helpers on, then that'll probably be the end of this first part of this video, and then we'll have a part 2 where we go up and over the hill, down to Hatchby into Bakersfield. So, but we'll see what kind of time we make, so make sure you stick around. Greatly appreciate if you like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. All that stuff helps out YouTube to promote us further, the algorithms of YouTube. We want to try to maximize that, obviously. So if you like what you see, tell a friend, you know, tell your buds, share the videos on the different platforms, you know. Join our Discord. Discord will be in the description. Check us out on Steam. I make my own mods for Transport Fever, Arma, and I think I have some pictures of some free content I can send you guys for Trainz A New Era 1912. Those are also on our Facebook. Make sure to go follow us and like us on Facebook. So we're just trying to build up, you know, as I blow all these crossings like a noob. Always trying to think of ideas of things I could do that you guys will be interested in. So any kind of help to grow would be greatly appreciated. We're doing pretty good for only being 3 weeks, 4 weeks into this channel. I mean, definitely looks promising, and we're just going to try to keep after it. So, had a lot of great positive feedback. Thank you guys for that. Hey, there's an excavator right in the middle of the road. What's up with that? We are maybe on a slight downhill right now. Pretty much flattened out, 56, maybe 56 and a half. And we're just rolling.
Roger that, y'all on duty 5 o'clock, right over. 9-10, roger that. Don't get a return by you, they're coming through Martinsville now, over.
Merp. So I could pick it up and run some speed right now. Track speed, that is, but we flattened out pretty good. Balanced. I think we'll come out of Diney's and see what she does. It is starting to drop a little bit.
Flight back to 20.
Pre-rolling, baby. Let's pick it up because we don't got all day. Another detector.
Detector, milepost 402.1. Ambient temperature 70 degrees.
First train's gonna be the eastbound freight followed by Amtrak. Amtrak's running the road behind it, over.
Back in the day, there was more of an incentive to get the train over the road as fast as possible. You know, the dispatchers were awesome. And I don't know that firsthand, I just know from my father. And definitely a different railroad than there was today or what I experienced. And they wanted you to run track speed all the time, and as a result, you know, they'd get you in these sidings, get you out of these sidings, you know, they just try to keep you moving, and they're constantly checking on everybody. Hey, can you get in this siding by this time? Can you be at this siding in 20 minutes? And then the crews would have an incentive to be like, yeah, okay, run track speed. He's like, you get in, I'll get you out, keep you going. So, you know, these days it's much more, you know, the dispatchers just don't have the ability, whether it's from management or from themselves, to run the railroad like that anymore. And what's sad is a lot of it's double track now, so it's really, it's not nearly as hard. I mean, but I don't know, it's not my job. Something that came to mind. No, I think we're starting to climb. I mean, we're in run 4, we're bogging down a little bit. Now, if there's one DLC I should get for this game, guys, comment what that should be. Definitely am interested in the Lone Pine branch. I think that's cool. I've actually been out to Trona and all that several times. Trona Pinnacles, seeing their railway in action, just being out there, you know, at the Pinnacles and all that good stuff. So Definitely interested in that. But what else? What else would be good to get? Let me know. Run 8, baby. Uh-huh. We're definitely going up a hill. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah. Something. We're going up something. Oh, man. What a great game. Kerbo, man, mentioned you a few times, but you really called it. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Really do. Really like to start a multiplayer server. To make some cool scenarios or whatever. Whatever you have it, you know, just have some fun with a few people. Run some helpers on some trains, switch out some industries, build some trains, you know, that'd be pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. No, I think Mojave's not too much farther. I think it's just behind this little ridge line right there. I think this is the main ridge line, and you kind of wrap around and then climb through the Tehachapi, so shouldn't have too much left. No. I don't have the ability to live stream right now, guys. Just my internet's just terrible. What I'm gonna do is working on getting better internet, so me and Golden Wonder could start playing again. And in the meantime, I'm gonna premiere these longer videos. So if you want to watch along, as long as I'm not busy doing something, I'll have the chat pulled up on my phone, and you can shoot in questions or just whatever thoughts you have, and we can go back and forth. So that's probably what I'll be doing from now on. So yeah, trying to get set up, but a little limited. Mentioned a few times, I think, in some other videos, I live in the woods, and this is just kind of how it is. But I'm working on it. One thing I noticed about this unit, or these older units, is not getting an alerter on these things. Not getting an alerter on. Yeah, let's listen to this. Still got our whole train, that's good to know. But yeah, even on these older units, you still have an alerter. And, not seeing it. And it's not doing it. I don't know. Maybe this is modeled before they started putting in alerters. Not sure about the history of alerters. I did notice in the ES44s on this game, I think even SD70 ACE, that the alerters do go off and they do work, so that's cool. It's not in this unit for some reason. So, I don't know. Just an observation. Alright, so looks like we're making our climb up to Mojave. So, we're getting there, fellas. We're getting there. We run 8. We got really good. Load meter's really good. Obviously, that's about to go up because we're going to be going uphill. Interested to see as I dive deeper into this game, post more videos, how many real railroaders actually play this game. Former, current. I know I've seen one other. I think he's still an engineer, from what I can pick up. Seen some of his stuff, and yeah, it seems like there might be a community of actual railroaders that play this. So interested to see that, and it'll keep me honest, that's for sure. I mean, I'm an honest guy. I feel there's no reason not to tell the truth or whatever. If I don't know something, I don't try to claim to know it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of communities around here, and see what goes on. Yeah, we're climbing pretty good right now. Pretty good. Let's check up on the dispatcher screen. So he's gone quite some ways. He'll probably, by the time we're done doing our pickup, attaching the helpers, he'll probably be out of our way. Let's go. Roll F2. I always get these things confused, man. There we go. Let's spawn another train in Bakersfield. I wish there was a UP spawn in Bakersfield.
Yeah, the UP 305 X8 X-ray Hotel, Outpost 250.
I don't know why it won't let me spawn now in these locations either. It's kind of strange. We're doing pretty good. I'm not sure what kind of grade this is, but it's probably over a 1%, maybe 1.5% grade. Not too sure. Go back to this screen. I've got trains and needles. We're never going to see those. So I'll just let them be. Let that guy pull down the Daggett for the heck of it. Got another one right there. Hey, let's get to smaller screens. So we're not too far. We're coming up on Mojave.
Detector, milepost 391.1.
Alright.
Ambient temperature 70 degrees.
Going into the yard. So, if I remember, I'm going to point something out when we get up here to Mojave. The rear car of our train is a tank car, and it is loaded. Can't recall if it's with hazmat or whatnot. But if it were, then you would need to have a buffer car. It's like an empty crane car, basically. It'll work. And you'd have to put that on the end so that you can attach helpers to the end of the train, because engines aren't supposed to be up against hazmat. So, this whole time I've been thinking, maybe I can switch out one of these grain cars, add it to the rear to kind of demonstrate that point, but I don't really feel like doing that. So, we're just going to run it. We'll just tack the helpers on to the rear car. Just wanted to give you that observation. These are the kind of little things that you got to keep in mind. Train builds are so important, the way they build a train. I mean, the way this train is built, where are the loads, where are the empties, all that stuff is very important. So, not sure if this game takes that kind of stuff into account. Like, you could load the train randomly. Now, what would be realistic is if, you know, the first half of the train were mostly loads, the rear half of the train were mostly empties, then that would definitely be in the ballpark. So I'm not sure if they do that or not, but maybe that's something I'll have to investigate in the future. We've been going now for an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. Pretty good.
269 east, what can I do for you over?
Mojave. Mojave is a very rundown old desert town. I wouldn't say it's the middle of nowhere, because people do live around here, but it's definitely, if you're from Southern California, it's the middle of nowhere. But that's not saying much. Anybody know how to get rid of this plus sign? I'm sure I can figure it out, but I just haven't figured it out yet, so. Plus. Now, I don't know how much farther Mojave Yard itself is, but I might want to start slowing down in advance. Because I don't want to come into that yard, like, hauling. So, I think we might have this intermediate coming up, and then I think the yard is beyond that, so.
Crank or just one flare? Crank.
Yep, so that looks like an intermediate, so that's good. It looks like it maybe flattens out to Mojave Yard. Caliente. Then we got another detector. Oh yeah, so we're right before. Yep, okay. We're right here. We're coming into Mojave.
Milepost 387
jumping along pretty good now, so we're going to be throttling off.
Conductor, Mojave dispatcher, over. T269 east, what can I do for you, over?
Give it a light set, because I don't know how fast we're coming up. I don't want to blow this thing. Alright, so we got one more intermediate before the yard, so let's throttle up a little bit. We'll try to keep this set on it. Now we have to knock it off, actually. Gotta know your route, man. These cars are loaded, or you know what, I'll just load them. Why not? I'll pull up, I'll cut off with the head-in cars. I think there's some box cars. I'll cut off with all the box cars, then I'll swing over, pick up those cars, shove it back to the train. So therefore, we wouldn't be adding any more hazardous tankers to the rear, because I can't remember if the rear tank car is even loaded or if it's even hazmat, so we'll assume it's okay to shove up against that tank car. What I could always do too is leave a box car on the helpers, shove that onto the helpers, and then so then they have a buffer car. So I think I might just do that. So let's just plan on trying to run this thing normal. Now, I'm going to have a hard time with this pickup and this little bit of switching we're going to do, is because I like being able to look at what's going on as I control it, and it's it'll be kind of difficult for me to be way back there running this thing kind of like a remote, but with no information available. So, but we'll try to switch out some stuff, see what happens. No, if I would have known, I could have hauled. Could have just came in here flying pretty good and then gotten this thing slowed down at the last minute for coming into the yard, but I didn't know that it was this far away. Dispatcher board's a little bit deceiving, so what are you gonna do? If I play this game some more, I'll definitely have a much better grasp on at least this part of the Mojave sub.
Won't crank or just won't flare?
Won't crank.
Good thing we're about to pull in this yard and stop, because I gotta pee. Probably the most unpleasant thing about being an engineer, from my experience, was obviously it could be very stressful, but you gotta really like manage your food and water intake so you don't have to use the restroom while you're running. So 45s, that's telling us that's an advanced speed board right there, I believe. That's good to know. I believe this is called an approach looter signal. So we gotta slow down. We'll be diverging and we gotta come into the yard at, I believe it's restricted speed, or was it 15? Don't remember. I should remember. But I did leave the railroad because of some health issues I have that have to do with my brain. So if it seems like I'm stumbling around or I don't remember obvious things, it's because I had a pretty bad brain injury when I was a teenager, and it's kind of caught up to me lately. But I'm still doing good, so no worries there. Just a little forgetful sometimes, even though I should know this stuff. But it's just part of it, man. I'm blessed in every other way in life at the moment, so I try not to complain. Try not to let it bother me, because it's, you know, it's a challenge, but it is what it is. So once again, don't know the route, so I don't know where the turnout is or all that. I think it's definitely up there, if I had to guess. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that we're being lined into the yard. So the track I want to be on should already be lined up for me. It's just the other end of it. So I should be able to pull in no problems, not have to line any switches. So, but we're about to find out for sure. Any other former current railroaders out there, comment what you think about this game. Does it seem pretty legit to you? Seems pretty legit to me, but obviously there's guys out there with a lot more experience than me running trains and all that, so give me your feedback on what you think if you played this game. Alright, so what are we doing right now? Throttle off a little bit. We're stretched out, okay. There's a little bump right there. Something happened right there, but we should be stretched out. I mean, got a minimum on it. Should be good to go. This should be where the BNSF comes out right here. We'll have to go that way in a future video for sure. I want to run from Yermo all the way to Bakersfield or vice versa. $45 if we weren't going in the yard, fellas. Alright, we're hitting it right on the money. Check that out. might need to line this switch, so let's try something. Let's see if I can screw it up or not. That's a good start. Mach speed. Nope. Alright. Alright, so now we're down below, so let's pick it up a little bit. Not the best at multitasking, so... Lined up. On into this first track. Pull all the way down, and then we'll start doing the do. You know, these cars I'm supposed to pick up, I think actually might have not spawned. Because what I did is, yesterday evening, I placed a bunch of AI trains, because I wanted traffic coming towards me from Highland till here, which that didn't happen today, which is fine. But I also placed some cars in this yard, some helpers, so they might not actually be here anymore. But good thing it's easy to place cars. I was just hoping for the visual of coming into the yard that you guys could see what we're gonna do. But I'll just have to do that. So, no big deal. I thought when the game saved that it would have saved that stuff as well, but I guess not. Pretty cool looking, huh?
We're coming into your mode now, so we'll see how it goes. But give me a call after light power. We'll see about moving you up.
I still got the set on. I could knock it off and we could come through here, but it just makes it easier to stop on the other end if we just kind of drag it into the yard like that. So, is there any way to get rid of... I really don't like this camera view when it stretches things out. Like, look at the speedometer and then look at it now. I don't know if they're trying to replicate like your actual vision, like getting closer. But I don't like how things get bigger and smaller like that. Is there any way to change that? Comment if you know that or not. That'd be greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated, brother. Oh, oh yeah. Back is a little sore from sitting in this chair. Feels like I'm back in it, boys. I'm back at the railroad. Keep it right at 10. Just dragging her in nice and slow. A lot of guys back in the day, like going to Yuma on the Yuma sub. It was single track after Beaumont or Banning. When my dad started going that way. And this is how they would come into sidings, but at speed, obviously. They would drag into the siding. Then they would just start throttling off as I got close to the other end of the siding, and they'd bring it right down. No dynies or nothing. Yeah, so when I spawned here yesterday is not here, but that's okay. We'll change that. We'll pull up to the other end of this yard, and we'll start doing our thing. Probably throttle off a little bit. Definitely over speeding a little bit, but it's nothing unheard of. 10 miles an hour, other than main track. Actually, at the end of my tenure at the UP, they changed that in West Colton. They changed it to 15 in spots, 20 in spots, just because they wanted to move things around quicker. They definitely moved away from the whole safety idea of safety and moved to a more, let's just have less people and move freight, which is good, but there's got to be a happy medium. It was getting a little sketchy out there. They're not maintaining nothing. So, yeah, it's just an accident waiting to happen, unfortunately.
Thank you, Metro. You're always good.
Yep, this is how long it takes to pull into a yard, boys.
They call me on 1 South, he's out there. I got a Z train going Caliente in the middle.
If we would have pulled into West Colton, I would have gotten off on the other end of the yard. I'd have a train list, and I'd just be watching that train list. And I'd be counting him down, and then I'd stop the rear car just inside of the track. We weren't fouling any switches or anything, we were in the clear. And that's how you do it. Then you tie 6 brakes, and then I gotta walk all the way up to the head end, cut off the power. We'd run out the other side of the receiving yard. Then we'd come back on the farthest track like this, and run it all the way down to the roundhouse, typically. And that was the end of our day. Got to tie 6 brakes on the east end of the receiving yard. Alright, so we're coming up to it. Let's see if this thing squats down like it should. I'm going to keep after it a little while longer.
Crank or just
As you throttle off, you can throttle off pretty quickly now that we're stretched out and at this speed. As we throttle off, it should bring this thing down to a stop pretty quickly. Especially because I think we're on a grade here in Mojave and we're going up. Yeah, that's pretty legit. Oh, independent. Big ol' set on the automatic. Throttle out. So that's how you would like stop on a grade basically. So if we were to start again, you can start and run 2 and you know that you won't break the train in half because the tension's already on the train. So a little bit more on the automatic to make it realistic for the viewers. There we go. Center it. No, not that one, buddy. That one. No. There we go. And in. Yeah, that was a great first run. Yeah, these physics, man, I think this is about as good as you're going to get. The only thing that's missing is being able to actually feel the train, but you're never going to get that through a computer screen. You'd need like a full cab simulator that is rigged with, I don't know what you would even call it, you know, just it has a bunch of different sensors and just kind of moves you around almost like a flight simulator, but not as crazy, obviously. So, well, guys, if you watch to the end, part 2, I'm going to spawn in some cars, some helpers, and we're going to switch out. We're going to make a pickup. I see how it stretches everything out like that. I really don't like that. So if there's a way to change that, comment, I'd appreciate it. So yeah, part 2, we'll make a pickup. I'll have to drop a buffer car for the helpers, which the helpers will probably be in here. We'll probably stash these tank cars behind these box cars right there. And then, yeah, we'll get after it again. So I left us enough room so when we come back with the tank cars, they won't be hanging out over here, or else you wouldn't be able to get into the track. So that's another thing you got to keep in mind. So yep, we'll do a set out. We'll put the helpers on the rear. We'll end up having to DP the helpers, but we'll need these units on the end of the train, or else this thing will probably have too much power on the head end. And then we'll start heading west towards Bakersfield. So if you like this video, guys, subscribe, like, comment, let me know what you think. Appreciate the support. Thanks everybody for suggesting this game. We're gonna dive pretty deep into this, and we'll see what happens. So thanks guys, we'll see you later.